Serious dark web users of Reddit, was there ever a point in your use that you felt you were genuinely in danger? What happened? One time I got twice the amount of drugs that I actually ordered. Was paranoid for about 2 hours and then I just got really high and it was fine. Lol, this same thing happened to me. I actually contacted the vendor because it was probably about double or triple what I ordered. He just responded enjoy. I once bought a bit of weed and I received a blackmail letter threatening me with awful things like sending CP and calling the police if I didn't send one BTC, $1,000 at the time. I was scared shitless but nothing ever happened. Always check the reviews before buying anything. A friend of mine used to use Silk Road on the darknet when Bitcoin was $10 a pop. He placed at least 100 orders through it and never had any issues. It's a shame he didn't keep all the Bitcoin he bought because he would have been a millionaire now. I was trying to buy those super cool laser pointers and I got a random message saying I know where you live. I noped out of that site straight away. Not drugs, not a fake passport, a cool looking laser pointer. Respect. In college some friends and I ordered a 100 sheet of acid using Bitcoin to our college P.O. boxes. We got pretty terrified when it didn't arrive when it showed. We thought it was found by USPS, our own mail service, or the D. We were paranoid. Turns out they just shipped it later than they said. We got our 100 tabs, but that was a very stressful week and a half for all of us. Every time, remember that the person you just bought drugs from knows 1. Your address. 2. That you have drugs in your house. 3. There's probably evidence of dark web use in your finances/computer/trash. They can rat you out with impunity just because they're feeling malevolent. They also could just get caught and be careless with destroying ex-customer information. So it hangs over my head to this day. My friends and I were once ordering some green off the dark web. On the way, we saw a dude selling cyanide. Don't ask me how I got it. Don't tell me what you'll use it for. Violation of either condition will void the sale. Apostrophe. I own a fairly rare car that had a rare code. I looked it up on Google and there was only one other person on the car makers forum that had the same error. And this guy took months and months going back and forth between car shops and the forum thread to try to get the issue fixed. Everyone on the forum was pitching in to try to help him. So I kept going through this long forum thread to try to figure out if he ever fixed it. And suddenly there's no more replies from the guy. Everyone was scratching their heads for a while. We thought he had maybe gotten the issue fixed and didn't bother to update us on it. Then one day, a news article popped up about a really rich guy who died in a Thai jail cell. And then we connected the two stories and they matched up. The same make and model of the car in the news article matched up with his car. And they were both claiming to be in Thailand at the time. So what happened was that same guy who was still talking on the forums got raided by the Thai police around the same time he stopped replying to the forum. Turns out that he was running one of the biggest dark web marketplaces where drugs were being sold and exchanged. It had something like $1 million in revenue per day and he was hiding out in Thailand while living in luxury. They found him dead in his jail cell a few days later. They claim he died of suicide. I was a casual orderer of the dark web for a while and got pretty big into it and started buying slightly bulky packages of drugs. If you knew the markets for a while then you would know one called Alpha Bay was the best of the best. The Amazon of drugs and fraud would be its best description. However, it went down mysteriously one day and everyone assumed the owners just scammed everyone for their Bitcoin. Partially true, but in the background it was actually Seize the D. Everyone flocked to a new site called Hansa which had some sketchy design features, but it was the next best alternative. Turns out the Dutch police took over the site and with cooperation of multiple governments ran a drug distribution onion site with over $1 million of transactions for around a month. They were gathering information from unsuspecting users, including me, who bought with faulty security practices. Now this is where I started freaking out. Imagine trafficking drugs through the mail. And the Attorney General at the time, Jeff Sessions, makes a speech live on television that he was going to crack down and explicitly explains how ducked everyone on Hansa was because they had been gathering data for over a month. and in a big dick energy move closes the site and puts up a banner in its place saying everyone who has purchased will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law during his live speech. I was shitting myself for a month as many arrests did occur, but luckily I guess I wasn't important enough and nothing happened to me. There's Hitman, human trafficking and snuff films and such, but a vast majority of these sites are scams asking you to send them Bitcoin. A small portion of users on the dark web would be there for this sort of stuff. However, buying drugs online is quite popular and widespread. Single vendors can have $500, 000 plus in lifetime sales. It's quite safe to use. You use PGP to encrypt your address so only the seller of the drugs has access to your private info. If your package is seized, they have no proof you ordered it unless they seize your computer and you have that information stored on it. You can use Tails/USB to avoid this. Even if your packages get seized, you'll often get a love letter saying what they seized, and there is no follow-up after that. Frequent it a lot, but once I accidentally left my browser in full screen and a stranger in a chat room asked me if my curved monitor was nice. Freaked me out a bit. I was once in an anonymous chat room with a made up name and all that. A guy DM me and asked what it's like to live in the city I did. I noped the duck out of there. Webcam turned itself on once. That was scary. I immediately unplugged it and my network cable. Ran 3 complete scans of my system for malware and viruses. Found nothing. Hasn't happened since. Not dark web, but I used to work for a disabled guy. Had been pretty badly disabled for 20 years and spent most of his time gaming and watching films. He was there early on when torrenting/file sharing started. He even said that he'd top some lists of most prolific downloaders worldwide in the early days. Could be bragging. I don't know. He told me he'd only ever had any issues once. He downloaded a film for his kids, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He was in the habit of checking every film before he let his kids watch, but didn't this time. Just hit play. He looked up at the screen after a minute or so to see a Snow White themed child porn video playing. 1 woman, 7 kids, etc. He didn't go into details or say how much his kids saw, just that he freaked out, exited the file, and then went to the bathroom to throw up. So I had ordered many times on the dark web, but one day I decided to place a rather large order of XTC pills from Europe to the USA. I had a terrible feeling in my gut after the order was placed, and actually had some serious food poisoning or something that night lol. Cut to weeks later, I ended up getting arrested for the pills, and enter in the worst time of my entire life. Are you allowed to go into detail as to what happened? Basically they did a controlled delivery and came to my house dressed as USPS. Moral of the story is, don't take packages directly from a person lol. Religious Silk Road and CGMC user here. I used to get the stuff delivered to my dorm, but the package didn't come directly to my room. I had to go pick it up from my dorm building office. For my 3rd or 4th order from Silk Road, I got an email saying that a package had arrived for me, but when I went to pick it up I was told by a rep that my package was in the door's office. I got freaked out. I also for some reason was getting a lot of spam calls which added to my anxiety. I was scared shitless. I didn't go to pick it up for like 4 days and kept getting emails from the door to come to pick it up. I didn't go because I thought that it was a setup. But after a couple of days, I said duck it because I had paid a lot of BTC for that order and wanted to consume and sell what I had ordered. So I went to pick it up. I was freaking out for literally nothing. The people holding on to my order couldn't have been nicer. They couldn't give me a reason why that package was delivered there and not to my dorm. So I just kept ordering more lol. Edit. The package was always delivered by USPS Priority, which is run by the federal government, and I went to a state university. So technically the federal government transported illegal goods to the state government for meal mayo. I occasionally check my spam mails folder, so I found an email with one of my passwords as subject. It totally got my attention. On reading it, it said he was able to got into my laptop by installing a malware last time I visited a porn site, and has few videos of me that he captured from last 15 days, including a masturbating video. which he will forward to everyone on my contacts if I don't pay him some $2,000 of bitcoins. I was sweating for 10 minutes before I decided to check. I have a bad memory, so I save all my passwords in the browser. On checking, it was the previous password which was mentioned in the subject mail. On checking hib.com, I realized Yahoo server was exploited some 2 months back, and this guy might have got the password from there. Anyways, there is no point in negotiating with a blackmailer. He will just send another email with more money next time, so I'll let it go. I never received another email like that again. I never felt in danger using the darknet, but I did almost lose everything to it. I started in the Alpha Bay days, then Dream, and eventually Empire, which to my knowledge is still operating to this day. I ordered everything and anything, mainly out of curiosity. I wouldn't say I had a problem with anything in particular until the day I ordered crystal meth. Fast forward a few years later, and I was slamming it and using daily. I almost chose meth over my wife and 2 beautiful boys, and no one was the wiser. Besides eventually my wife, no one at work knew. For the most part, one was pretty good at hiding my use, although I feel like I would have been caught eventually. 69 days sober today. I still struggle, but life is better. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.